Hello, I'm Mark Nelson, Executive Director at Cheshire TV, welcoming you back to another episode of Ask Cheshire TV. I knew I'd get it right one of these days. Joining me here in the studio today is Zach Benton, host, star, producer, impresario, and tunesmith of the locally produced Cheshire TV program, The MELODIOUS Show.
That's right.
We're here to make an example out of you today.
Okay.
We didn't tell you, but we've brought some of your family and friends in today, and they're behind this. Oh, I guess they couldn't show up. So one of the things I like to do on this program is talk to producers who are currently doing shows and find out, how did you get started? Which is always the lamest little kid question in any interview. How did you get started? My mother and father really liked each other. How did you get started, and what is your show? Explain it to us.
Sure.
You did take the time to prepare clips to illustrate that, which is what you produce. And also, we like to give folks an idea at home what goes into making a show, and to just say, here's the kind of thing you can do here if you show up and want to play. So how did you come to find our station and organization?
Well, a long time ago, I was on a talent show on Cheshire TV, and I got second place to a magician.
I remember that. Superstar?
Yes, Superstar.
Fantastic.
Yes, and somewhere I have the video. But I won some money. So anyway, Cheshire TV was always in the back of my mind. That's when I was going to Keene State. Now, that was a long time ago. I graduated in 2010, so I'm a little older than you probably think I am. Just hitting 19 now. And
doesn't look a day over 47, does he? When you sleep in the dry ice, it keeps things tight under the chin.
It does. I learned that from David Blaine.
So you're local, originally from Keene?
Not originally. I'm from the Lakes region.
Okay.
Alexandria, very small town, about 1,300 people population. And then I ended up going to Keene State, graduated from there. Started working in town. I work as a tutor at a local elementary school. But I'm also a professional musician, and I wanted to expand what I was doing with my music. I was recording and performing, but I really needed to rev things up. I wasn't quite happy with how things were going and how they were portrayed, so I thought maybe TV would help. So that's when I reached out to, it might have been Dave, it was somebody, and they said, come on in and learn about what it is to get a show on the air. Now, if you're a member, which means you live in Keene or Swansea, that means you're automatically a member. If you don't live there, then you need to pay $50, right?
Yes.
I didn't have to pay $50, so right there I was like, this place is awesome.
These guys are aces.
Right. So I was a member, and I had to read through the book. Okay, read through the book, checked it out, didn't seem too crazy, seemed all doable. And Dave said, okay, we're gonna do 2 shows and see where we're at. So I thought, okay, 2 pilots, so I better make these really good. So we have the day to do the 2 shows, and I mean, looking back at it now, I'm like, man, that's clunky. But
it always is in retrospect.
Yes, but I had to get through that clunky. Like with everything else, you gotta get through got to toddle before you can,
fall down the stairs.
Exactly. And falling on your face is one of the greatest things. So I'm finally falling on my face with the show, but I wasn't in the beginning. So the first episode was a little clunky, and we shot 2 that first day. And then finally it showed, I think you guys or somebody, maybe just Dave, I don't know, maybe Dave was just running things, man behind the curtain. But
probably was, yeah.
But it showed him that I was going to continue on with it.
And how would you describe the first 2 shows? Not in terms of quality, but in just what they were.
It was music, performance, and then an interview portion. That's all it was, and that was the main drive in the beginning. I was gonna perform, then interview a guest who was probably a musician. That was how it started out. And it was in a studio format like this. It was live to tape, so I couldn't edit it later. So there's some awkward spaces in there. In the first episode, which is on YouTube, if you look up Melodious Show 101, there's even Dave army crawled out on the floor, and there's a mic stand that comes down by itself. That's one of my favorite moments. and that's how it was at the time.
They're like, they have automatic mic stands there. They're high tech.
Right. I was just happy to be on TV. I just thought that part was cool. But once you get beyond that, then you start to grow a little more. Now, would you like me to speak beyond that, or do you want?
Well, what you're describing is what the majority of studio shows are for us here, is that we work with somebody to come up with an introduction for their show that we put together in the computer. One of the guys does that. Pick theme music, make end credits and all that. So that's all on our machine. Somebody walks in, sits down, the studio's already set up for them. They speak their mind, they do a little dance, they sing a song, whatever they do. At the end of that half hour or hour, credits roll, they leave, and the show is finished. So that's what you started off as a sort of what we think of as a classic studio show.
Yep.
And that's my recollection, is that basically you and or your guest would show up and do your thing, and that in the end that was it. So how long did the show exist in that form?
In that state, it started in last November, and it went that way until maybe March or April, and then things started to shift a little bit.
So how did it shift? Were you feeling ambition or dissatisfaction, or were you full of gumption?
Gumption and ambition.
Okay.
I like those. I have both of those tablets when I eat dinner.
You take supplements, I
do,
say.
yeah. Love them, great. Nothing like them. So I felt like I could start to expand a little bit. So I started borrowing the camera, one of the cameras from the studio. Now to do that, you need to get camera trained, which doesn't take very long. It's easy to do, it's reasonable. I mean, to use a really nice camera, a 20-minute camera training, that's free.
Right.
Great, I'll do it. So I wanted to have more control over what was on the show. It's not like I look back and go, man, that really stinks. It might not be the best, but I mean, I guess that's, you work through that. It's a skill that you're building as you go along. So I wanted to do more with that. Not only did I want to start editing the interviews, because I realized that some of the interviews would have pauses, and I didn't like those. I started to be like, oh man, that pause it's really tearing me up. So finally, the whole show, meanwhile, Dave's been like, get in the edit suite, get in the edit suite. I'm like, nah, I won't. And then one day I walk in, show me to the suite. And it was exactly like that. Right. I mean, it was like Clint Eastwood. And so he brings me in and he shows me how to use Premiere. So from then on, I'm like, what else can I do? So I rent out a camera and I start to expand. Instead of music and things of just that nature, I start to expand into more maybe comedy or more sketches. Like in the montage that will be shown, one of the first sketches was, it's half black and white, half color, and it shows me hopping over to the black and white side. Very simple. And maybe like the first thing you do in film school. I didn't go to film school, but like that, that sort of thing. You have a basic theme and you go with it.
So had you worked with video or shooting anything before this experience?
Yeah, in college, my friend Dave Allen and I, who has guest starred on the show tons of times by now, but he and I would shoot a lot of videos, music videos to other songs, or just sketches like that. And some of those have reappeared on the show. Like I've been able to go into Premiere and kind of clean them up and recycle them. Only they're shiny now.
It's what I refer to as new to you content.
Yes, I love new to you.
So you've gotten more ambitious with.
Yeah.
So the format of the show, originally it was, I would call it a music show.
Yeah.
Right.
Originally,
would you still call it that, or is it more comedy, variety?
I call it variety now because there's the comedy aspect, which I began to realize like, oh, I really like to do this, and I'm kind of good at it. It's other people are laughing at it that don't know me.
That's always the key, I find. Your friends and family are either going to be nice, or they're going to cut you a lot of slack, or they like it because it's you. But when strangers start telling you they like it, that's legit.
That feels nice. So I realized like, oh, the comedy thing is I need to balance that out with the music thing, because that's part of my personality too. Even on the first episode, there's some comedic stuff that's coming out of me that I didn't. It was in there, but it had to come out.
It's effortless for you.
It
just flows.
And for you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, but looks aren't everything.
What? Anyway.
This is the last time I'm ever going to be on this program.
Everybody gets one. One person has gotten two, and that's because they were nice to me.
Oh, jeez. I got free popcorn for you after.
Benefits of the new location. So now that you're, how hard did you find working with Premiere in editing? We use Adobe Premiere Pro, or the Adobe Premiere suite of programs. Really, I think we have access to pretty much all the programs Adobe offers, and you can get as deeply into this whole game as you want to. Had you had any digital editing experience before that?
The audio recording that I've been doing is very similar, only now you're looking at, you have visual information too.
Okay.
Yeah. So combining that, at first was a little daunting, but eventually I was like, oh yeah, this is awesome. I love doing this. So the Edit Suite is also another resource at Cheshire TV that you can use. So if you take out a camera and you learn how to use the Edit Suite, you could make a movie if you wanted.
Absolutely.
And maybe I will eventually. I don't know.
I mean, I think the tools of creating video content are so much more readily accessible and cheaper than they've ever been. I mean, if you go through us, and if you're a member, obviously it's pretty much free. But I mean, you can shoot things. I don't advocate it, but you can shoot things on your phone and incorporate that footage. And if it's, most phones shoot in HD at this point, so the quality difference is not terribly noticeable. Hold it horizontally.
Just widescreen, please.
Little tip.
Not
every monitor except your phone is horizontal.
What is that called when it's straight up and down? That looks
vertical vision.
Oh, yeah, it looks so bad.
It looks terrible. It only looks good if you're only ever going to watch it on a phone. So anyway, so that's cool. A lot of people are a little intimidated by the Edit Suite.
Yeah.
It does take time to learn if you've never done it before, and editing takes time. That's just a fact. A lot of people shoot something and they want to, and be done with it.
Yep.
And it can take that long, and you'll walk out with essentially what you walked in with. But if you're willing to put the time into it, it can be a lot of fun. You can manipulate space and time in ways you cannot in the real world. As I like to say, you can lie fabulously through editing.
Oh yeah.
Nobody needs to know that what they're watching is not how it was when you shot it.
Right.
And I've seen bits, and I'm not just saying this because you're here, mostly, but I've seen, I have monitors in my office so I can monitor what's on the channel and just make sure the stations are on. And I look up and I see always these interesting creative things with your show logo in the corner. And I'm like, damn, he's getting good fast. Or at the very least, it doesn't look like everything else on the channel, which, if you do a show that's two people talking, that's fine too. If the content is interesting, who cares? No, and ultimately, what matters is that you, the member, is getting out of it what you want. Yeah. So your show airs on our fine channel repeatedly. Where else can it be seen?
Usually on YouTube. Usually I'll upload an HD version on YouTube, and that way people around the world can see it.
In glorious HD.
In glorious HD. Now,
that's the Tarantino's follow-up to that film about the World War II guys.
Right.
The new is in glorious HD. It doesn't stand for high definition.
Hastards.
Anyway, sorry. Which is the thing I like to stress too, is that sometimes when people are hearing about what we do or getting involved, they're like, oh, I don't have cable, or who cares about cable? These kids today and their disdain for the cable. It's crazy.
Lame.
But I always say, don't even think about that. I mean, part of the deal with using our equipment is you have to give a copy of us and we put it on TV, on local cable. But you can do anything you want with it.
Yeah,
you can put it on YouTube, Vimeo, Flip, Flop, and Fly. We put your shows on a server that goes out to all the New Hampshire public access stations, and a station in New Jersey, I believe.
I love that there's a Jersey station.
I know. It's same with Cinemaniacs. They pick up the show in New Jersey. There's also Peg Media, which I don't know if you've gotten involved with that or not, but that's another website that basically disseminates your content to all the stations in the country. Yeah, it might even be international too. And that's free to do. There's more to it than that, but there's a lot of ways that if you want to cast a wider net than just Keene and Swansea, it's totally doable. I mean, whatever you create is yours to do with as you see fit.
Which is one of the best parts of Cheshire TV, because looking through and signing I think I had to sign something. I thought maybe and we'll control the content or we'll own the content. You use it wherever you want. So if you use the cameras, like I said, and use the Edit Suite, you can make a movie for free. You can make a TV show for free. And not only that, but it's going to be on cable, and people flip through cable. They don't need to search through the labyrinth of the internet to find it.
That's what I tell people too, is that you can put something on YouTube and the world is your oyster. You can potentially be seen by everybody in the world.
Potentially.
But you're one of at least 1 million videos on there. If you're on local cable for the community here, everybody who has cable has Channel 8. We're not like ESPN 3. If you pay the lowest tier, you get Channel 8.
Yep.
And a lot of people do see this content. So if you're interested in being seen locally, there's a much higher percentage that locals are going to see this than if you put it online, I think. Which is not to poo-poo the online, because thanks to that, people in New Jersey know your face.
That's right.
Among other things.
Yeah, they've seen the mugshot. Voice? Voice.
He's melodious.
That's me.
Oh, is he melodious?
Melodious.
Before it gets too late in the program, let us give the folks at home a taste of that which you have to offer. Would you care to introduce this fine montage that you have put together?
Sure, I'll introduce the Montague. It is in chronological order. It's very quick, but it basically shows a little bit of the first episode, the format originally, and then it goes right up to the latest music video that I did, which also airs as filler on the station.
Hey everybody, my name is Zach Benton, and you are watching the very first episode of Oh Melodious Show with Zach Benton. That's me. We're going to feature music, we're going to feature local artists, we're going to have some talk, we might even do some theater. You never know what we're going to do. Yes. Happiness. Right? And it's, hey guys.
Looks so realistic.
Not a costume.
I did listen to a lot of satellite radio when I got my new car because I didn't.
The heart of men will cause the fall of men. Yeah, bright and clear. What is holding you back is the fear.
I guess. You guess? Okay, I'm certain.
Look,
I'm certain.
Look at the wildlife out there. What the heck is that thing anyways? I don't know, but I don't know what the heck that is.
Wally, we want you to look good.
I do look good. I do.
There are no songbooks in my heart, I'm getting madness from wondering where they went.
So that was a fantastic clip. He was laughing at himself.
Wow.
And I mean, if you can make yourself laugh, I mean, personally, I just do it for me, and if it makes anybody else happy, fine.
Great, yeah.
So that's really interesting, because it really does show the evolution of a show that was studio bound and to, the world is your studio now. It's as far as you want to go with that. Do you have is there anything about the experience in doing this that you want to share with anybody that we haven't touched upon already? Anything you think people might want to know who are considering doing a program, or something about your show that folks who have no concept of this might find interesting?
Okay, yeah, I can attack this from 3 different angles, and I will do all 3. Philosophically, if you're creative and you want to express yourself, do a show. Because even if you don't feel, like when I started the show, I thought, oh, I'm not a film guy, I'm not a visual guy. I didn't even know music video, I didn't get the milieu, I didn't understand it. I was like, what is a music video? I don't know. Now I understand, now I have an eye for that. Now I'm composing shots, and I'm watching film and I'm seeing that they're composing shots. So I'm getting way more out of it. So if you have any inkling of any creativity at all, and you want people to see what you're doing, get a show. Now that's philosophically. Technically speaking, you can get a high-def camera, you can get microphones that'll go right into the camera, you can put that on an SD card, bring it to the edit suite, and you can edit your footage for a weekly show or a program, one-time program, anything you want. And not only is that great to learn about technically, and also you can put that on a resume, but it's a better way to market yourself. I don't know how much we can talk about that, but
no, that's totally legit.
Exposure for your art. This is one of the best ways to do it. You know what I mean? That Twitter post you do is awesome, and maybe everyone will see it, but there's thousands of people that are going to be channel surfing on Thursday nights at 7:30, which is when my show is, and they might see it, and they'll go, hey, I saw you on TV, and I'm like, that's right, you did. Now, number 3, about my show, variety show. It's great. There's comedy, sketches, there's music videos, then there's once in a while there'll be, I guess that's it now. It's just comedy sketches and music videos. It used to be different.
Golf lessons, instructional.
If there would be, yeah.
You could
I mean, there could be.
And I don't want to tell you your business, because it's your show, and we don't get involved with content here. But if you did a show about bookbinding, I think there's a certain, and not a show, but it's just a segment. Like, tune in next week, and we'll work on loose pages.
I do like that idea.
It's like a cliffhanger thing, and the kids, I mean, I'm in touch with the youth.
Yeah.
The kids are crazy for the bookbinding.
They love
the physical,
bookbinding.
the tactilation of
They
it.
love it. They love it.
But that's
you can't bind a Kindle.
That's just me.
That's just, I'll think about it.
You could make a book out of Kindles where each Kindle is a page.
Is a page.
And in a sense, in the size of a book, you could have like 10 million books.
It's true. You're right. You know what? You're right.
Sorry, you were saying?
I think we'll do that on the next episode.
Oh, angling for a return already, you see.
Oh. Not at all.
No. So you're having fun doing this?
I'm loving it.
Because, I mean, obviously you
it.
wouldn't if you didn't like it.
Yes. I don't know what it costs to take film courses, but it probably costs a lot. And I wish I'd done film, but I'm kind of doing it right now, only it's not accredited. But that's, seriously, I've learned so much. And the show is going to be a year old next month. So I've learned all of this in 1 year. So, like, we'll see what happens 2 years, 3 years, 4 years.
How time consuming is producing the show for you?
Depends on how much new content is in the upcoming episode. Sometimes I use the Sesame Street method, where I'll take a music video and throw it in, and I'll do that a few weeks in a row. Because, hey, MTV, well, at least they used to, have the same music video in rotation. My music video is going to be in rotation, too. But for new content, brand new content, for 28 minutes, 29 minutes, about 6 hours of editing per episode. Now that sounds like a lot. I'm a little bit of I can be a little picky. So you could probably edit an episode with brand new stuff that you filmed for maybe 2 or 3 hours, if you really.
So your show went from, let's say, a 60-minute time commitment in the beginning, tops, to 6 hours.
Yep.
Maybe. And if you like doing that, that's cool.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, some folks enter into doing shows here and they don't really realize how much of a time commitment it is. I mean, if you really have it together and you can be off the cuff when you're speaking and you are well prepared, you can sit down and do a show and walk away and not think about it.
Right.
But if you do shows that involve guests or a lot of preparation or something, that can really eat up a lot of time. And some people, that's why you see some shows drop off after a month or two, is they don't realize what the time commitment was. And it's too much to handle. But you seem to be enjoying it a lot. We see you in there all the time in the edit suite.
I'm an edit rat.
Yeah, I mean, you may get a plaque on right in the arm. I don't want to say like at
elbow mark.
I don't want to say like at the Colonial where it digs up your arm because the screws are sticking up.
Yeah.
I think they fixed that problem. But we'll see about getting you a little brass plates once you hit 48 hours in a week. So we're approaching the station, but we're not quite there yet.
Sure.
Anything else you'd like the folks at home to know?
Well, I will say this. The people that work at Cheshire TV are awesome. And I'm not just saying that because you're here, but the three main, I'm not going to call them three stooges, but the three main gentlemen that work here are extremely nice and will help you with any questions you have. If you want to learn how to compose a shot, they will help teach you how to compose a shot. If you want to learn how to shoot in a different frame rate, like you and I talked about, and this wasn't even, I didn't even go in your office. I was just like texting you, I'm like, how could I shoot in like film frame rate? And you're like, 24 frames. And so I started shooting the show in 24 frames just to see how it looked. And the resources are great. The resources are amazing. And I'm surprised that there isn't a line out the door to get all this stuff. I mean, Steven Spielberg had to live in a closet at Universal Studios to get, and that piece of celluloid was like, oh my God.
Right.
Now you can do it for free at Cheshire. And you don't know if you're good at film until you try it.
And if you're not good at it, we don't care.
Yeah, we don't care.
It's not about, the weird thing about all this, it's not about the viewer, it's about the member, which is hard for a lot of people to get around their head. We exist to serve our members, to be able to express themselves or tell a story or get information out or share an opinion or whatever. And if the folks at home don't like it,
they can change the channel.
Exactly. That's
Yep.
Fortunate or unfortunate, we have been fortunate that the majority of our shows do develop followings and people get recognized on the street and complimented and all that sort of thing. And that's always a nice feeling to know that folks like what you're doing out of the bottomless pit of your heart and stuff.
Right.
Well, I thank you for that unsolicited. I mean, you don't see the very sharp sword that's pointed at his back, but I thank you for the unsolicited praise. I wasn't angling for that, but it's true. We are here to help. Whenever anybody thanks us profusely, I'm always like, that's what I'm here for, you know?
When I first got to the station, your office, I used to be like, man, he's like the Wizard of Oz. Like, he's in there, I don't know what he's doing. And I never saw you come out, so I was like, man, he must be really mean. Dave's like, I got to check out a time slot for your show. He goes in, I'm like, who's in there? Who's in there? Now I'm popping in all the time asking questions. And it's true. So don't let him intimidate you.
I would be amused if anybody was intimidated by me. Amused, but job done, if that's true. Well, I'd like to thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
I'm not going to, but
Love it.
We go way back. We go all the way back across the street from the old office.
That's right. Walk all the way back home.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, because this is really cool. We haven't done one of these in a while, and I've been wanting to do this for a while because your example is a very unique one for what we do currently. So thank you for being on this fine program. Thank you for doing your program. Thank you for all that you do and your melodiousness.
Thank you. Yes, my melodiousness stretches.
Melodious. That's what I say when I see. It's become so much of the part of my own lexicon, to use a big word, that when I stub my toe at home, I don't use profanity. I go, melodious.
That's right.
It's such a fine program.
That's right.
So that's all for this week's edition of Who Am I Kidding? This quarter's edition of Ask Cheshire TV. And thank you for joining us. If you have any questions, feel free to call our station at 603-283-6621. Send us an email at askctv@cheshiretv.org. Check us out at www.cheshiretv.org. And we are currently located, by the time you watch this, in the K Fox room in the basement of the Keene Public Library. No windows. So I thank you very much, and I will see you on TV.